Can you still make the cheapest worm composter in the known universe? Well, today we are fighting inflation and I'm going to teach you how to make one. In February of 2025, there is still one nationwide chain that sells this popular tote for only $8.99. So today we're going to take advantage of this bargain while it lasts and build a worm composter for a price you would not believe. So you can have worm castings all summer long for your best garden ever. So you have to understand that this is an indoor worm bin. It's not tough enough to keep the scavengers out, and it also has big holes in the top that the rainwater would just collect in. I will build an outdoor worm bin for you in a future video, so you can look forward to that. Worm composting is addictive. For most people, it starts off a little icky. The idea of keeping something like this inside your home doesn't seem natural, but healthy soil leads to healthier activities, healthier food, and a more natural life. Here is the Worm Factory 360, and here are two finished bins. Together, these two bins can make about as much compost as this Worm Factory. The Worm Factory is smaller, better looking, and a little more complicated. This is how much it costs to make my DIY version, and this is how much the Worm Factory costs. Now don't get me wrong, this looks great, it makes nice compost, and it saves a lot of space. But my family makes about 3 times this much compost, so you see where I'm going with this. If I still haven't convinced you by the end of this video, I have made a tool for you that makes it easy to sort top-selling worm bins from the cheapest suppliers. Also, it calculates how many of each of these bins you will need if you want to compost all of your weekly scraps using one of these popular models. And I'm giving away this spreadsheet to anyone who wants it, and yeah, if you buy one, you might be buying me a coffee. So why am I still trying to convince you to make a DIY bin? Maybe I'm just not that smart. First, I'll show you how to make the basic model. Then I will show you a simple trick to make it 100% bug-proof. And finally, I will share the instructions and that spreadsheet that I showed you so that you can make your own educated decision. Now, you could just drill a bunch of holes in this tote. That would work pretty well. That's what a lot of people would do. But drilling that many holes makes a whole lot of doorways for bugs. So we're going to do this a little bit better than that. Here's what you'll need. A plastic shopping bag that's breathable, kind of like a medical mask. A pair of scissors. A soda can or a plastic cup. A ruler. Sharpie markers. A board for cutting on. A pair of work gloves. A utility knife. And a roll of duct tape. Wait, stop. You don't need to write any of this down because I'm going to send you the list. You just listen and learn. So you've got all these things, and you're probably wondering, can't I just use that old tote in my closet? The answer is maybe. You see, here's what makes this tote the perfect bin for the job. It holds 10 gallons. It's sturdy. It doesn't crack when you cut it. It's made from food-safe plastic, it's dark inside, and there aren't any holes until you cut them yourself. So if you already have a bin that meets all of those needs, feel free to use it, but I'm not making any promises that it's going to work exactly the same. If we all use the same bin, I can keep everything simple. And if you go rogue on me, some of the stuff that I'll tell you might not work. So, I mean, for crying out loud, it's only $9. Sorry about that. So let's cut some holes. Use a Sharpie marker and the bottom of a soda can or a pint drinking glass as a stencil for the 2-inch holes. In very dry weather, or in a place like Colorado, you might want to only use 4 to 6. But if you don't care about aesthetics, it's easier to cover the few holes with duct tape than to cut more later. Place your board under one of the marked circles. This will give you something to push against when you're cutting through the plastic. Take your time because it is easy to slip and cut something that you don't want to cut. Now we'll do the side holes. Each one is 5 inches long and 1 inch high. Draw each one in the middle near the top. Just make sure that you leave enough space for your duct tape. This is all pretty straightforward, so let's jump ahead. So now you have your holes. Each hole will be covered with plastic fabric from reusable shopping bags. Somehow we always end up with lots of these in weird sizes. So I repurpose them for projects like this. You just need to make sure that they're made from recycled bottles because it has to be plastic. Otherwise, it might form mold in your worm bin. For the next step, I used to rough up the plastic and then glue everything down using Gorilla Glue. And that method worked great, but it was a little on the messy side. So then I saw this guy and I realized, duct tape? That's brilliant! You just tape the fabric to the bin, just like this. Could it possibly be any easier? So I promised I would show you my pro tip for bug-proofing this bin. This is weather stripping tape. Costs a little bit more money, like under $10 for 50 feet. And it's used to keep the cold from getting through your doors. So I'll give you that link in a minute. You take this tape and you take off the plastic backing, and then you just put it on the inside of the covers, right under the lip. And when you push it down, it creates a seal that keeps the bugs from getting in. Your new worm bin is now bug-proof, aerated, and ready to fill with bedding and worms. Now you need to know how to start this bin and how to manage it. To do that, just navigate to the description below and click the link to request the free Google Docs. These documents give you links to all the parts you will need to complete this project. They also include instructions on how to build and manage this worm bin. It's going to ask you for your email address. I might send you a quick tip once or twice a month, but if that ever gets to be too much, just click on subscribe and I'll leave you alone. But if you stay subscribed, you'll continue to have access to all the free materials that I'm writing about worm composting. So I look forward to seeing you there, and have an awesome day.